Today I want to talk about how can you make money with AI in 2025. So in the last few months, since I've been working a lot with AI, I grew a YouTube channel, I have worked with a few clients, I had a few job opportunities, and I've also sold some of my courses. And I've been noticing some trends going on X and other platforms. So I kind of have an idea of what are the ways the trend is moving towards. And given that I have been in the design field for over 10 years, I can kind of piece them together and come up with a prediction on how you can make money with AI. The first trend I see is the shift from what design as a role to design engineer as a role. Now, this is inspired mainly from Sahil's post, who is the CEO of Gumroad, on how for their companies they stopped hiring designers and now they're only hiring design engineers. And I see why this could be the reason. If you see designers, typically they gather requirements, they brainstorm, they come up with different concepts, they come up with the right solution for a given problem, and they do it on an interface which is Figma. And this is just at a conceptual level, right? But now with AI, what you could do is use exactly the same effort with probably marginally new skills that you might have to acquire, but that will give you the ability to make fully interactive prototypes, which means instead of giving a prototype that mocks a specific flow, it could be a real working flow, which is far better to test because you can simulate real data. You could even plug in data from one of your staging databases or production database, and you could just get real insights in your testing. So let's say you're working at a company and you are to present your designs to your manager or your team. Now, usually this happens through in the form of images that you present on a slide, or maybe a click-through Figma prototype where you show how it goes from screen A to screen B. Again, this is still limited, but imagine now if you had the app that you could just open it on your phone, you could just screen share it and just completely use the flow and demonstrate everything, including all the edge cases and including all the corner cases, and just pass it on to your team. And they experimented, they try to break the flow, they try to try different use cases and found out and reported, hey, this flow isn't working, this use case has not been thought through. Now this will lead you to find out a lot more errors up front and will help you think through certain edge cases in a much more polished way than you otherwise would. To do this, you would obviously learn some things like Cursor or Bolt or V0. So there will probably be a shift, at least with the tools that we use. I understand Cursor and V0 are still not integrated with our design systems, so they're still not entirely there to be able to be used directly as a replacement of Figma. But the pace at which these tools are growing, it's not too long before they are able to integrate into our design systems from Figma. And then if that happens, then you could just pretty much generate your UI through these tools, and it will have a significant advantage unless Figma takes the root of one of these tools and is able to also not only generate the UI, but also the functionality behind it. Technically speaking, I'm not the expert, but for Figma to build something like V0 might be much harder or much more technically challenging than for something like V0 to use one of these Figma design systems into their code. Well, it also depends if these design systems are available in code components, but in Figma, they don't really live as code components. So there's a bit of a technical challenge to be figured out there. But if one of these tools are able to reach that point, I see a complete shift in which tools designers would use and the output the designers would use to test their prototypes or present their prototypes for test. And how this could help is that the designers who are able to create these full-fledged prototypes will definitely be able to have a better recognition at their workplaces. You could probably be the one driving this change in your team. That could be recognized by your managers, and that could probably give you an advantage in your team to probably ask for a promotion or an increased pay raise, or it just shows your willingness to learn and change the environment and come up with more effective ways to test and build products in general. Here's the other thing about generating UI versus designing on Figma is that you could generate many more variants of a specific UI in a very little time than if you did it on Figma. Because if you did it on Figma, you would probably use step-by-step approach to come up with a few ideas. While this could help you be creative about it, it could be much faster if you just generated 5 or 10 options and used AI to generate them, and that could give you a pool of ideas to choose from and make this whole experience much more rewarding. The second way you can use AI to start making money is by actually finding jobs by creating a portfolio that stands out from the rest of the applicants. So typically a portfolio starts with a problem statement, then goes into all these case studies, it breaks down into different approaches, and then finally takes you to a solution through a narrative or a storytelling. But now, if you had a fully working product, what you could do is start by letting the users experience the product on their own, and then you can go into how you solve specific problems, into creating this prototype and what considerations you took and what research you relied on or you did not, or what research you would require. This could give you a different angle to explain your story, and it will leave the interviewers or your visitors with an impression of using your product, which is far more effective show don't tell way of showcasing your designs. I have seen some very impressive portfolios that people have been creating using Cursor, and this could give you also a significant advantage, which is not the same as every other portfolio template that you see, but something different, something that reflects your character, reflects what they call as taste, which is just visual language that uniquely describes your passion or some identity. That leaves a much better impression now that you can use all these tools like Midjourney, you can use different photograph styles to create your own brand language. The third way I see how designers can make money is by making Figma plugins. I have met a few people who have built plugins while they're working in design systems teams, or they don't even have a job, and they built some plugins that help them get a job. And this gives you a significant advantage because now when you join a team, you can now build plugins for different internal tools and to simplify some of the processes that designers follow. And if you were to actually turn it into a profitable plugin, you could still do that, offer a freemium model. So put it up on your social media, try and get a few users, and then charge a fee for a more premium service. There are a ton of plugins for this use case, but you can go super niching even in this whole Figma plugin community. Take a problem, a very simple problem like how to organize your layers properly, or just simply how to name your layers properly, and then just create a plugin around that. And if you solve a problem that's painful enough, there would be people who would be willing to pay. Even if you don't make money out of Figma plugins, it will still have a great impression on your portfolio when you apply for a job. The next way I can think of that you can make money is by building and selling templates. So you could create these portfolio templates or different templates for dashboards. Dashboards have become such an easy product to build because of V0 and Bold. So you could create so many different visual themes of these dashboards and put it up on a marketplace like Envato Marketplace, or even create a digital product on Gumroad or Lemon Squeezy and just sell it on your social media. Now, people would definitely be willing to pay for it with some requests for slight modifications, which, if you think about it, is not that hard because now you can make a template, sell a template, and offer these add-on adjustments to the template, which wouldn't take so much time because you're just going to use tools like Cursor and V0 and just make those modifications. You would make a copy of it, make those modifications, customize to them, and then you can sell maybe $100 a piece or even more. You can see some examples like Tailwind UI, which has a lot of these templates for different use cases. And from using these ideas, you can create different visual themes based on those similar use cases. And there is definitely a market for someone who would need these products for their business cases. So that's what you build, and the style with which you build and the customizations you offer will be the value added services, and that's what people will find useful and why they will purchase from you. The next one that not a lot of people are talking about enough but is going to have the ChatGPT moment is AI agents. AI agents are these autonomous AI, which basically not only just takes an instruction and does a task, but also interprets what tasks needs to be taken, tests it against certain benchmarks, and then decides what tools to use to execute a certain task. And it does all of these autonomously. Now, the thing with AI agents, and it reminds me of a tweet that I saw, is that agents plus humans are going to be far more valuable and hireable than just humans, which means that you, as a designer, could have certain AI agents which perform a very specific task and is specialized at it. An example would be how an AI agent would automatically take a meeting transcription, creates these different action points, automatically reaches out to different stakeholders, comes up with all these alignments and updates them with the design updates that you made, gets their feedback, and does all this intermediary communication. You could think of a lot of different ways that you can build internal AI agents within your team. And if you look at it, this is actually your way of working in a company, which you are outsourcing to an agent to do it for you. And workflow that you create with these AI agents will scale with you and it will build with you. So it becomes your unique advantage depending on how effective this AI agent is for you, that you can use it, or you could even share it with others or customize it for others or build it as a product. This opens up a lot of interesting new opportunities to create your own automation work, which I believe is a highly underexplored opportunity that I hope to see a lot more interest in this year. So to summarize, 2025 is going to be an exciting year for AI. And the best ways you can start to improve your skills today is by first learning how to build apps on V0 or Cursor or Bolt, or try to build your own AI agents, or try to take templates like Tailwind UI and create multiple different visual variants of it and try to sell them on your own websites or on Gumroad or one of these marketplaces. And honestly, just make a better portfolio and just create a portfolio that uniquely reflects your style, your interest, your passion, your character. And these are ways that you can really set yourself apart in 2025 and take advantage of AI to find better jobs or get paid better. That's it, folks. I will see you in the next video.